Okay, so our project is called Good Vibes by Colette, Kat, and Rashi.
Okay, so our purpose is to ensure that deaf and audio impaired individuals are given an opportunity to understand a glimpse of how music feels and sounds like. So we're going to be doing this through synesthesia, which is basically the combination of all the senses so that it creates a whole and enticing experience. So in order to do this, we're going to be including the visual and tactile aspects of listening to music. So for example, we're going to be connecting a variation of colors and notes in order to have them learn. So for example, warm colors with high notes and cool colors with low notes. And in order to integrate the person's tactile senses, which is feeling and touch, we want to evoke the proper emotions associated with each song by utilizing the heartbeat and the vocal vibrations of the artist and relay it to the individual through their spinal nerves. So the concept of this project is to generate a synesthesia effect and lessen the gap, the explanatory gap, which is basically the differences in understanding of concepts between individuals. So in order to do this, we're going to be having the individual kind of experience and understand the mood and feel of a song through different senses. And to do so, we're going to be using vibrations and sending them throughout the body. So the social context would be revolving around today and the currently deaf. So we want to ensure that those who desire to experience and create music can learn how to sing and play instruments, as well as experience those emotions that are evoked by music, because we know that these intrinsic feelings that we know listening to music are extremely valuable, so we want them to understand those same concepts.
So for our literature review, we researched a few topics. The first one is the explanatory gap, which explains how, like, if your read is different from my read, and we actually had a lecture about that, and we wanted the audio impaired individual to see or like to experience music the same way that someone who would be listening to it will experience music, and to close that gap that makes it that someone who is audio impaired understands music different than someone who isn't. And next we researched like how different colors in like sound frequencies match up with different notes. And in our project, when the audio impaired individual is singing, it will show different colors associated with different notes. We also researched the 5 senses and how certain senses can come together to make up for the lack of one of the senses. We also researched like visual images and how that can convey a message. And the last thing we researched was the synesthesia effect and how the different senses can blend together. And our precedent is that we researched sound frequencies, and we looked at articles, and we found that when deaf people want to experience music, they usually try to do it through vibrations of the wall or things around them, which requires the sound to be really loud for them to feel it. And there was recently also a study where they implanted a chip that has like that digitizes sound and sends it through the skin through the radio, which is a different way of looking at it, but what we're trying to do is to combine all the different senses so that they can experience sound more as a whole.
For our project proposal, we tried to combine 2 of our main idea senses, which were tactile and visual. Tactile is physical touching, so vocal and heartbeat vibrations, and we also used spinal technology to hit all the nerves on the body and have the vibrations immerse the body in whatever the artist was feeling. And for visual, we tried to bring imagery into it by associating the frequencies and colors with the different pitch frequencies and help the singer improve their pitch through images. And we tried to bring it all together by having all the senses work in tandem together to produce the feeling that the artist felt when they created the song. Oh, this is like a video to kind of show our thoughts.
So that's basically.
And the impact of what we're trying to do is to break boundaries and stereotypes that are made that deaf people can't experience music the same way that people who can hear sound can experience music. And we want deaf people to have a true experience that incorporates all of their senses into it. And for the future, we could take this even further by measuring the hormone levels of the person singing or the hormone levels of someone who's listening to music, what their hormones would be, and manipulate the audio impaired individual's hormones to that same level so that they're also feeling the same emotions that someone who is actually listening to music would feel.
So in conclusion, we want this to be both beneficial and revolutionary to the audio impaired, and we want them to truly feel what it feels like to have your whole body experience music. So through visual images, deaf people can learn how to sing and play instruments through the connection of notes and colors. And using their tactile touch, they can experience the emotional response that one would feel. And so basically through the use of all their other senses, this would establish a really unique and special way for the audio impaired, and they can understand the music through emotional and physical experiences.
We created some discussion questions to think about if this were to become a reality, such as can this invention help those who are tone deaf learn how to sing? What are the problems that can happen with so many physical alterations that we'll be putting on the client? How can we use this invention to allow audio impaired individuals to communicate with others through music? And how can we incorporate the olfactory sense into the project so all the senses can work together as a whole so people can experience it fully?
Thank you.